Hi, my name is Jim Burris, and I help people who have essentially had enough with anxiety. They may have been dealing with it for 6 months or 6 years or 20 years, and they've typically tried everything from all the different talking therapies and different prescription drugs that are out there, and didn't get the results that they were looking for. And that's probably why you found this video. I suffered from anxiety, suffered with anxiety, had anxiety, however you want to say it, for about 20 something years, from the age of 14 to probably 34, 35, 36, somewhere in that. I don't remember the exact date. I remember my last panic attack. It was in Tampa Airport. That would have been in 2015. So it's been about 10 years this year, as I'm making this video in 2025. There's hope out there. I'm not a doctor. I'm not playing one on TV, and I'm not telling you to not go to a doctor. They're amazing people, and a lot of people do get help and results. But if you're suffering with anxiety and you just don't get the results or the help that you think you need and deserve, you're missing something. And one of the things that I didn't realize until I was a little bit, actually till somebody actually helped me recover from anxiety after I'd tried everything, was that one of the reasons you have anxiety is you have potentially a creative intellect. You're a creative person, so your brain is predisposed or wired to just always being creative and looking for answers and solutions, and just you might be an artist or a musician or an entrepreneur. You don't have to be, but that's kind of what my experience has been over the years. And today I wanted to just tell you my story about how I joined the Marine Corps with anxiety, and kind of what that journey looked like and what my concerns were going into it, and how it ultimately ended in a positive way. My time in the Marine Corps ended. I had started developing anxiety. It was honestly probably earlier than 14 or 15, but that's the first time I remember I experienced a panic attack. Ended up in the emergency room. A lot of you probably have similar stories. And so that would go on for years. I had constant panic attacks, and it morphed into, I had derealization, which was depersonalization, which was the first symptom, I guess. And I thought it was from drugs, because I had used drugs early, and not saying that was right to do. But as a young kid, I had used LSD and started smoking marijuana at probably 13 or 14 years old. I'm not saying that's a good thing. It's what happened. I thought that's what caused the things I was experiencing. I had doctors tell me, because I just came out. I was honest. I was like, I burnt my brain out. And I didn't do it all the time, right? It wasn't like I was doing acid every weekend. I wasn't even doing it that much, just a few times. So the doctors were like, oh, you just got lucky. You know what I mean? They were just like, yeah, it could be worse. I don't remember ever hearing, I remember the doctor's name. So I remember a lot about when I was younger, because it's very traumatic. I don't like to use the word trauma, but essentially it was, right? I was hospitalized for a while. But around 18, after I'd finished high school, I went to a tech school and had still been dealing with the panic attacks. Probably, they were monthly at that point. I just habitualized to them. I just accepted that's just kind of like my brain, what I had thought was my brain was broken, and this is just who I am, so you have to go on with your life, which I guess is a positive thing. But ultimately, I could have ended the anxiety a long time ago. So, after high school, I went to a tech school. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to do career-wise. I wasn't just drifting. I had good guidance from my dad and grandpa and things like that, but it just didn't know. And my grandpa was in the Navy, and my dad and my uncle were in the Marines, and I just felt like I was supposed to be a Marine. And if you're watching this because you searched, I don't know, anxiety in Marine Corps, I don't know. Maybe you were either in the Marine Corps and you have anxiety because of the stuff you experienced in the Marine Corps, or you had it before then, or you have an anxiety condition of some kind now, and you're thinking about enlisting in the Marine Corps. So that was over 20 years ago, so you know what I mean? You might want to check with some people now. I'm not giving you medical advice, and I'm not giving you like military enlistment advice either. I'm just telling my stories so that maybe you can ask a couple questions, or maybe not say it at all. I'm just going to be honest. I wouldn't, if you have it under control and you can deal, some people can, if you know what I mean? Some people can't deal with anxiety and they're always on medication and stuff like that. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that's what happens with some people. The Marine Corps, I'm assuming they probably, if you're on medication, I'm betting, or any branch of the military, that they probably won't accept you for. I'm not a recruiter. You need to go talk to them strategically about what you're trying to do, or talk to your doctor. That's the best. Let me back up. Always talk to your doctor first. Don't just never stop taking medication. I'm not saying that. Never will I say that. Talk to your doctor about it, and about if you'd like to join the military. They can give you guidance. Just telling you my story. Because when I went in, and I'm sure they still do this, at some point in like the first 50-something hours when you're in like receiving platoon, and I can still hear all the noises and the smells, but it's little things like you get issued clothing and stuff like that. And at one point they put you in a room, and I think they call it the moment of truth. It may be something different now. And they basically say, hey, if you have ever done anything, anything, they want to know anything, because it's the military, right? They don't want some shitheads in there. So they can tell if you've been, felonies and different things. That's public record. But I think they're trying to get people to like fess up to things that they may have not been caught for. Not sorry to prosecute them. I don't know what happens if like you go in there and you say, "Oh, I robbed a bank when I was 14." You're probably going to go to jail because the statute of limitations is probably over. Even if it is, they're probably not going to let you in the Marine Corps or any branch. But just be mindful that's something that happens. I'm almost certain that it still does. It'd be silly if it didn't. So they want to know about tattoos and all this stuff. So you sit there, and then they keep scaring you. They're like, hey, if we find out you're hiding something, it's, I don't remember the exact words, but they were like, hey, it's a $25,000 fine and 10 years in prison. I'm assuming that could be the maximum punishment, because I don't think that they would just straight up lie. You know what I mean? There's some bending of the truth in that. You know what I mean? But I think the average person that enlists in the Marine Corps, they're not coming from families that typically have a bunch of attorneys and understand all the legalese and the speak. That's just my opinion. Not to say there's not, but so I had just basically said, man, I had anxiety before, and I went to the doctor. So I just went and essentially confessed. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I still have integrity, so I wanted to be honest about it. Some people use it as just a way. They hate it at that point, so they're like, fuck it, I want to get out of here. I wasn't like that. I was actually fearful that if I say something, I'll get kicked out. So I had went and you go into a room with a doc. I don't know what kind of doctor they are. It's a Navy, in the Marine Corps, it's the Navy officers or the doctors. Was when I was in. Probably still is. But so I remember, I can still see the room, because it's traumatic, right? It's scary. And I remember talking to the guy, and I just told him my story, essentially, that, hey, I had smoked marijuana and used LSD, and that may have been why I developed panic attack. And again, I didn't know at this time that was not. Now, it's like pouring, I had no issues with LSD. Marijuana would give me panic attacks, so I'd stopped, right, which was a good thing. But I just told him what had happened, and he had, he just said, well, they'll have to look into it. I don't know the truth of what he was really thinking, but I just remember he told me that they'll have to investigate it, and it could be the end of my military career. Now, I wanted to be a Marine, right? So this was something that was like, shit, my honesty, honesty is always the best policy, right? It's not just something your grandma says, it's the truth. So I was sweating for like 2 or 3 days, because you're still going through all the motions of boot camp, which sucks, right? It's not a super fun experience. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I hope this doesn't get me disqualified. I wasn't like, oh, I don't want to do this because I might get. It was just like, I'm committed to doing this. I want to be a Marine. I want to earn that title. But in the back of my mind, what's going to happen? And it never came up again. I'm not saying that it won't for you. I'm just saying with me, I had never heard another peep out of it in boot camp. I have my medical records here somewhere. I'm assuming they have all the documents from boot camp. I don't know if it's in there. I should actually look sometime to see, it's probably on a file somewhere. You know what I mean? I think they keep things forever. But I was able to make it through boot camp and like paperwork wise, and I did have panic attacks in boot camp. I had suffered with derealization the whole time, and I was used to it at that point. So again, I had just kind of habitualized to it, and it's sad. It's how resilient your body is, right? That's just what your body does. Like if you ever get tinnitus, which if you have anxiety, that's kind of a common thing. I still have tinnitus in my left. I don't even hear it now that I'm thinking about it. There's a little bit of, but like, cause your brain just gets used to it and kind of blocks it out. So similar with like derealization, depersonalization, I guess it was just I accepted it. So going through boot camp and then all my time in the Marine Corps, I had it. I still remember having panic attacks. I'm sure I had them on deployments. I don't remember them because it was probably just everybody. A lot of people were having panic attacks or whatever, it was just a high stress environment. But in boot camp, and I was stationed in Okinawa for a long time, and I remember my staff sergeant, he called me outside to talk to me. I don't remember, it wasn't a bad conversation. We were just, I guess you'd call it like strategy. We're figuring out how to do something. And I remember walking out, and it was the first time I had a panic attack in front of him. Now, I didn't freak out when I had him. I just slowed down. You know what I mean? So I'm like in full-blown panic attack, adrenaline burst, right, is what happens, and how you feel kind of out of your... I felt like out of my body with them, right? So they were wild. But so I was able to cope with them. And I mean, I think most people can if your body and your brain are pretty resilient. Even if you don't think you can, if you're watching this and you're going, I could never do that, you could. The good news is if you do have anxiety, if you're suffering from panic attacks or derealization or just all the different ways that it shows up in people's lives, I can help you. There's a link in the bio or whatever, the description below this video. It's to my Facebook page. You can click on that and message me, and we can set up a time to chat. And I have nothing to sell you. Ultimately, I'm building a program called the Peaceful Mind Blueprint, where I'm going to help people overcome anxiety, then also help them with other like goals they're trying to achieve just through mental focus and clarity and right thinking and a lot of different things. But the premise right now is just to help people overcome with anxiety so they can really live their purpose. And right now, if that's you and you're in the military or you're getting ready to go in, you just click on the link and we'll schedule a time to chat, and I'll walk you through the process that I use. There's nothing to buy. There's nothing to, even the stuff that I tell you, there's nothing to buy. There's some supplements, I guess, that you could take to help you sleep at night or whatever, but, it's not, buying them from me. And the ultimate goal is like, I'm going to build a program where I will charge for it. But I know that the more people I genuinely want to help people. And then I know that just helping people for free right now, you'll get results. You'll give me a testimonial, and that'll help me to help more people in the future. So that's like the dirty little secret behind what I'm doing, why I'm doing it for free, right? So yeah, click in the bio. There's a link. It might be to a landing page or to my Facebook page. Let's schedule some time to chat, and I'll give you some coaching. It's not going to be every day over the phone, but we'll have a quick Zoom call, and I'll give you the process that I used and how you can follow it. And as you're going through it, we could chat a little bit just because you'll have some questions, and you can, if you're going to boot camp tomorrow, you should have found this probably a month ago, at least a couple weeks ago. But if you've got some time, and it doesn't have to be the Marine Corps boot camp, but you know what I mean. I'm a Marine, so you're probably watching this because you're a Marine. You want to be a Marine, or you are a Marine and you have anxiety. But the good news is there's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you to stop taking your medication. I'm not telling you to not talk to your doctor about anything. I'm just telling you that if you've tried everything and you don't have the results that you deserve, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I suffered with anxiety for a long freaking time, and I don't anymore. So I'm just going to tell you my story, my blueprint, and you can do with it what you will. And if you follow the process, you'll recover from anxiety. You'll have an amazing life. You'll get the lights will come back on in the room. That's what it's like. So click the link, whatever's below. Also, if you found value in this video, like and subscribe and share it with other people. And I appreciate you, and let's do this.